I know a team that you really had your eye on of kind of like what are they doing? The Denver Nuggets. Um, the last 2 years since they've won the ring, they lost Bruce Brown due to cap restrictions. They lost KCP this offseason. Both were key rotational players. And KCP could have come back, it looks like. But his contract got matched by Denver, and he still chose to go to Orlando. Why are you shaking your head about Denver so far?
Out of all the true title contenders there are in the NBA, Denver had the most disappointing offseason. They lost KCP simply over money, which is a travesty in my mind. Yes, some may argue that KCP's production could be replaced with cheaper, younger guys that they already have in house. That's at least what the front office is saying to all of us to kind of smooth the oh crap, we lost our fourth best player, arguably. Um, and he did have a lackluster postseason this year. He only averaged 8 points per game, 3 assists, and 3 rebounds. Okay, so you could argue, hey, can we get that from somebody else? Probably. However, I think that this will have a similar impact to when Bruce Brown left, right? Their chances of winning the title after Bruce Brown left diminished more so than we thought. We all had Denver winning back to back. They got bounced in the second round, and now they got worse. They got worse by losing KCP. Now there's going to be a lot more on Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., especially on the defensive end, which I don't like at all. So I think this one loss puts them a tier below the true title contenders of the West. I don't think we can say that they're a top three team anymore in the West because of this simple loss.
Yeah, Denver just slowly losing their depth pieces and slowly getting worse every offseason. They'll still be a playoff team because Jokic is just that good. Some ways they tried to replace some of their depth. They drafted Deron Holmes, but he's a young guy, so we'll see if he gets minutes or not. They signed Dario Saric, who will probably play over DeAndre Jordan, which I guess they did need. But then they're also interested in Russell Westbrook, who's still on the Clippers as of right now.
We know how that's going to go. That's going to go
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, yeah. At this point in his career, it will go
Terrible.
great. Um, but yeah, Denver just they're going to be relying on a lot of their young guys. And granted, I think they can jump back into being true title contenders if some of these young guys do pop. But I'm not expecting it maybe this quickly. If any of their young guys do get better, I think this could be over the course of 2, 3 seasons, not just hopping into their second year or rookies coming in. So I agree with you in Denver being outside of that like high status contender tier. They can definitely beat a team or two if someone gets like one of those contenders gets hurt. They can definitely compete with them. They're not going to be an easy out. Jokic might win another MVP because his stats might look insane on this team just because of their lack of depth now. But this is also something we're seeing a result of the new rules coming into play. And Denver not being willing to go into the extreme penalties, second apron, where they can't really sign any guys except minimum guys. They can't really make any big trades. So they're just kind of choosing to bet on player development and their future going forward.
It's fair. I mean, if you run it back with this same group, you're basically just saying, hey, we should have won game 7.
Mm-hmm.
You probably should have. You were up by 20 plus at halftime, and then you completely fell apart. You could also say Jamal Murray was kind of hampered. But I mean, he also stepped up big in the series before. I mean, you can make a lot of excuses. One that's inexcusable is having the best player in the world and just avoiding the tax because you don't want to pay it. Right? You're losing. I would say your fourth best player. I like KCP more than I do Michael Porter Jr. I know Michael Porter Jr. gives you more on offense, but he's a bullfighter on defense. It's Olay all day. So you're losing a very key piece to a team that has championship aspirations, I'm just baffled. I'm baffled. It's a great pickup by the Magic. I just maybe Jokic doesn't care. Maybe he's going to retire in 3 years when his contract's up. You know what I mean? And maybe that's why they're not willing to go into the tax, because they know their best player is going to leave in 4 years because he wants to go ride horses. I don't know.
I think the worst thing for the Nuggets team is the fact that for Bruce Brown and KCP, they lost them for absolutely nothing. And I think that's what hurts the most, because theoretically they couldn't have done anything about Bruce Brown because he signed a 1-year cheap deal and they had no rights for him. But KCP, they had his bird rights. They could have paid him a little more, brought him back, and then if they were really worried about their money, they could have traded him for a lesser contract or something.
There you
But
go.
they just let him go for nothing, and we'll see if that pays off. But I think Denver takes a step back next season.
Exactly. I'm always on the side of sign the player and figure it out later, because KCP has trade value. There are plenty of teams that would be willing to trade for him. Okay. You'd at least get something back. You could say the same thing about the Clippers with Paul George. That's a whole nother segment. But sign the player and get something out of him instead of just letting him walk away. The new rules, I don't even want to pretend to know what's going on. But what I see is an owner being cheap when they have the best player in the world. And if I'm the Nikola Jokic or Jamal Murray, I'm kind of looking at this like, what are you doing? Like, we got a chance to be a legit championship level team, and we just got worse. So they are the biggest losers of the offseason, in my opinion, because they actually have a chance. The Clippers, I mean, they've been done for a while. So